hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi guys, we're getting a lot of questions at the moment asking where to buy silver or gold, and of course there are many places in which you could, and this is not an endorsement, but we tend to use bullionbypost.com. They've got a wide range of gold and silver, and if you put in the code that we've listed here below, you'll get a 1 ounce silver coin on any order over £250. Very nice. Just in case our channel ever gets taken down from YouTube, which there's a possibility because we are challenging a number of things. If you go to my website, drcharlieward.co.uk, and register there, we'll keep you in touch as to what's going on. And please, as Justin always says, remember to subscribe and like and share with friends so that we can get the message out there. It's very important through a difficult time to get the truth out in a world that is not very true. And just remember, Jesus loves you, even if everybody else thinks you're a twat. Hi guys, and welcome today. I've got Pankaj. Is that the correct pronunciation, Pankaj?
That's correct. Pankaj Sharma. If you're Indian, you say Pankaj, but
okay,
if you're
how do you say
West, you say Pankaj. That's fine.
Okay. No, but thank you very much for joining me today. And what I'm trying to do at the moment is reach out to every country and every culture so that we can get a clear view from everybody rather than just a few. The more people we can hear from, the more people that we can share information with, the better, because then we can, I say it's like creating a puzzle, and we need all of the pieces so that we can see the picture clearly. So thank you very much. I know it's 6 o'clock in the morning where you are.
That's true.
Thank you for getting up so early to talk to me.
Well, I'm elated to speak with you today, Charlie. I found you recently, and you've just been a great blessing.
Well, thank you for giving me your time. I really appreciate it, because if we can share information with everybody, the one thing I've learned in my life, that racism, sexism, all of this is created by politicians. And I've always got on incredibly well with all of the people around the world. Doesn't matter where I am, but it's good to have competitive spirit. I love my cricket, and I love watching India against Pakistan in Dubai. The only problem is you can't get a taxi because everybody's watching it. But you need to have this competitive spirit against each other, but not racism.
Gotcha.
And I think it's wonderful, you know, to be competitive, but not to be racist. But anyway, but thank you for joining me.
Sure. My pleasure. Like I said, I came onto you recently, and it's been hard keeping up. You've been, you know, pumping out a lot of videos. You've been busy guy with this.
Well, I was saying the other day, Lee Hemmington, who manages my diary for me, if I was a prostitute, I'd need a damn good wash right now, because he's pimping me out 24 hours a day. But look, there's no wrong time to get the message out. I'm a farmer's boy, and we know what it's like when the harvest comes. It's all, you just have to get out and do that. And I just feel at this moment in time, it's my job and my duty to get the truth out there in a world full of lies.
I got a question for you, Charlie, if you might have some insight on, you know, obviously we know that during this Corona kind of shutdown, lockdown period, a lot of operations are going on, and little by little people are being rounded up and things of that nature. But at the same time, people are seeing through the farce of the virus, you know, as far as the great pandemic, the great, you know, thing. And it's just like, I know it's being utilized for good, but at the same time, you know, we see the constriction that's happening with everybody. And I kind of lost myself in the question, but it's like, it's a paradox of two things. Like, once you're seeing this this facade, you know, that's being pushed, and the propaganda is so strong and intense, and this control system, this control virus, some people call it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's being used for good. So it's like, I guess we have to just, I don't know. What are your insights there?
My thought process on this was pretty clear from the start, that Donald Trump, if he'd come in and done what he's doing now, but hadn't gone through this process, we would have thought he was a dictator. He's having to expose the evil people within our society. Doesn't matter whether it's England, whether it's India, whether it's America, whether it's Canada, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, whether it's different states between Democrat-run states and Republican-run states. And not every Republican-run state is run by a good person. Not every Democrat state is run by a bad person. But what he's doing is he's allowing evil to expose itself, so that when we get the opportunity to cast our votes in the future, we won't necessarily know who to vote for right now, but we will definitely know who not to vote for. Because some people have completely overrun their powers on the restrictions. And in England, this will make you smile. They suddenly came up with a random law yesterday, or a random rule yesterday, that you can only have 6 people gather at any one time. Where the number 6 comes from, I'll never ever know. And some of the stuff they dream up, even the 2-meter thing, is completely made up. There's no scientific proof anywhere in the world, from the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, or any government's website, that suggests that that's been proven as a fact. It's just complete and utter conjecture and guesswork that somebody's put out there. And the trouble is when they put out this stuff and people do it, they get into a stage, these controllers, to see how far they can go and get away with it. And that's what we're seeing. And the trouble is when you've got power, it's a bit like a bully at school. When we were at school, you had bullies. And when you have bullies, they see what they can get away with. It's when, and the biggest bully I ever met him, I didn't meet him, but saw him in my life, was Mike Tyson. Great fighter. But he was a bully as a boxer until somebody hit him back, and then suddenly he was like, whoa, I'm going to have to bite your ear off to get you this time.
Right.
So it's the same mentality. A bully will keep coming at you, and they'll push the boundaries even more until you go, no, enough's enough. And a lot of people now are waking up to the fact, with my videos, we've done 250 videos, we've reached over 10.5 million people. So the word is getting out there. Not as fast as I'd like it to, because when I went down to the supermarket this morning, there was only 2 people in the supermarket, me and one other, that wasn't wearing a mask. So they're still, in Spain, they're scared to death. But I sort of understand it, because all the police have guns. I remember when I moved from England over 38 years ago, I moved out to Spain. The first shock was that every policeman's got a gun, so you don't challenge them. In England, they haven't got a gun. They got a pair of handcuffs, and if they're a little bit fat, you're gonna outrun them easy. Right. So you're not scared of them. But here you're scared of them just by the nature they're carrying a gun. So here, and also because of the control of Franco in the past years, up until the late 70s, it was a fascist country run by a very strong leader. So people have that in their mentality. They do as they're told. It's in their DNA. They're programmed that way. And it takes a lot to deprogram and decode the way that they've been brought up, because a lot of people have said to me, well, what on earth made you not watch the television? What made you think they were lying to you? I said, well, very simply, it just didn't sound right. And on top of that, I'd been told.
It's pretty, I mean, for years, I just never watched the television. I never watched the media, so to speak. I just knew that it's just, nonsense. Even when 9/11 hit, I didn't know exactly what was going on. I didn't know how the depth of the nefarious activity, but to me, I just was never emotionally tied into the whole drama that was being portrayed. Yeah. And later on, I started seeing into it and seeing that none of it made sense, that it was definitely like a controlled demolition and things of that nature. But, I campaigned for Obama back in his first time around. But it wasn't too far into his presidency that you could see that he just was an NWO puppet. Like he just did everything. The NATO and the Illuminati and the cabal, whatever you want to call them, the controllers, the manipulators, wanted to be done. Like he was the man for the job. And I've only voted once for him, and I think that's the only time I've ever voted for a president. But it's just the first time around, and then after that, I went to a really deep, dark hole of seeing, how black operations and all this stuff and what's going on with the world. And then after a while, I just after going through that dark hole, I just didn't stay stuck in it. I kind of went on and lived my life, and then all of a sudden, when this virus dropped, it really got my attention again. And because my immediate concern was, okay, now they're going to push some kind of vaccination. Like this is the setup for a vaccination,
Yep.
And that's when I started watching Donald Trump. A friend called me one day, said Trump's about to get on TV and talk. And I had never even watched anything. I just thought he was, whatever, because if that's the scenario, I thought he was I thought he was a part of the group, part of the club, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I never really paid him much attention. And when he got elected, I just, again, became oblivious to whatever was going on politically. But the programming, the Mockingbird media and everything is so strong that no matter what, if you're on social media and stuff, you get all these ideas that, Donald Trump is this racist guy. He's this, he's this mad egotist, but when I started watching him, and I had a really difficult time turning on CNN and watching that for a few minutes till he came on, because it was just all this fear and whatever. But when he came on, I could just started watching him, and I started seeing who he was, and it was very different from what the media was portraying and what people thought about him. I saw that this guy's an intelligent guy. He's on time. He's on things, and that's when I started also waking up to the whole Q. So now I'm at a point where it's like a massive obsession to watch the movie that's unfolding in front of us, because it's really a movie, and to try to, on some level, help to break down the programming for others, because it's all mental, it's all mind control and programming. That's what we're up against more than anything else, I think.
Well, I think people need to listen to Pankaj, what he just said there. That's so important. You have to open up your mind, and if your moral compass inside is accurate, then you'll make a good judgment. If it's out of sync, you won't. The one thing I love about India as a country, as an origin from where you come from, is it's deeply a spiritual country, not religious necessarily, but spiritual. They have a very good connection to truth and to understanding truth. A lot of people are very, very well connected with the spiritual world. And it's so important that you learn how it is to open up your heart and open up your mind. And if you have a moral compass that is accurate, you can take the information. Your eyes might tell you don't like somebody. Your ears might tell you don't like somebody. Take the information and put it inside you, digest it, get different perspectives, and form your own opinion, rather than having somebody else's opinion, which is programming. And there's so many times we take the information as being absolutely solid. And what Pankaj has just said is so important. Sit back, relax, just take the information in and trust your own judgment as to whether it's right or wrong. And if your moral compass is accurate, and I've often said, if you're a Christian, you ask God. If you're a Muslim, you ask Allah. If you're of no religion at all, you ask your mum or your grandma, because they'll guide you. They'll guide you, and it's very simple to reset your compass. But it's so important what you said there about just sitting back and absorbing what's going on, and then making your own judgment, not letting somebody else make the judgment for you.
The other interesting thing that I saw, that when Trump got elected here, and I was, I'm very connected with a lot of so-called spiritual people, but they're more on the, liberal side of things. And I just saw all this hate. I saw that these people who are so quote unquote spiritual are, just posting all this hate towards somebody. And I just thought it was, to me, I just chuckle inside, like, this is so funny that these same people that they're so spiritual are being so negative now all of a sudden. Like they've been programmed and hypnotized into being these outraged people over this man being elected president. You know, there's a whole campaign that he's not our president and stuff. And I just was shaking my head. Like I said, whatever right there is going on is just, there's something wrong with that deeply. And I didn't even, like I said, at the time, I didn't look deeply into it, but just knew that something was off.
I had learned a very interesting thing when we were talking about the last election. Had Hillary Clinton not tried to fix it and rig it with the postal voting and everything else, Donald Trump would have won by 75% last time.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling is that this time he'll win by 90% plus.
I'm looking forward to that day. And the funny thing is, that's the time, and that period, I was more on the Bernie Sanders side. You know, I was like big into following what was going on with that and and I saw how Hillary stole the election from him because he had the people, he had all the people giving him money. Even this time he raised so much money. And once he lost, it was like this big blowout. It was right here in Philadelphia where they had their convention, and you could just see how they stole it from him. Mm-hmm. But it really shows you how bad the media and how bad the agenda was being pushed, that the DNC does not care about the will of the people. No. That the DNC only has their own agenda and they're going to push it through. And even this time, like and I watched it, all of a sudden everybody stood aside. Biden was a terrible candidate from the start. He couldn't even win the first two primaries. And then all of a sudden everybody just stands to the side and lets the great Biden, come through and be the shining star. And even Bernie had to concede finally, but Bernie raised over $220 million. And
where's that gone?
Exactly. That's my big question. Where's that money?
Certainly wasn't spent on anti-aging cream or sort of mental stimulants, was it? It's unbelievable. We're living in an amazing time because I was told about this last year. I was told about it 2 years and 6 years ago that it was going to happen. I just never dreamt it would be that easy to collapse the world's economy. Having said that, if I look at the end of the tunnel, when we come out the other side with a quantum financial system and a revaluation of currency so that countries that have been downtrodden and crushed by the deep state and the cabal can live again. You imagine India as a country with the money that it should have in it, but it's been robbed blind by so many countries.
That's
Pakistan, the whole continent of Africa, what a beautiful country that is, been robbed blind. You start talking about the Far East and these countries like Cambodia, Vietnam, the Philippines, all of these beautiful countries out there that have been robbed of their wealth. And if you get a revaluation, say, in Zimbabwe, as part of Africa, been absolutely robbed. When you start to get the value, to revalue currency and to have a quantum system that can't be stolen, everything's stolen that we're going through right now, then we move into a far better world. And when we start looking at humanitarian, like we discussed earlier on, looking after humanity rather than trying to, the governments have destroyed humanity.
And that's one of the reasons why, I got into the whole Bernie thing, because I thought that he spoke about against the 1%. And I knew the 1% were the people that were the controllers, they were the manipulators. They were the ones that owned the mega corporations that were raping and pillaging the planet, And what come to find that Donald Trump is the one that's really fighting for the people?
It's a shock, isn't it? One of the most beautiful things that I love about Donald Trump is the only president that looks younger after 4 years of service.
Exactly. Obama aged ridiculously, it is.
I know. It's incredible. And he's got this, I suppose, because he knows that he's beating the enemy. I suppose that God has given him so much power and strength. Yes. And he hasn't abused it. And
he's sharp as a wit, whereas Biden is the total opposite. He's a total twit. Like he can't, just there's a new language out called Bidenism now, where we haven't found translators yet,
Because I was told many, many years ago when he started talking about the wall, building the wall between Mexico Yeah, obviously you need to secure your borders. That's common sense.
But even that was portrayed as something like we all thought like, okay, that's racism. It's crazy how we, like be defenseless. Like there's a sign out that people have that they put on their front of their houses, or even somebody even had it in the school. And one of the things they say in it is nobody is illegal. And they're talking about like no, we believe in science and nobody's illegal, but to just have open borders and people can just come in is the most stupidest, most ridiculous thing, but people don't have the logical thing to think about it,
Well, we've seen certainly in Europe, and you've seen a bit in America, where the movement of people, we've witnessed so much moving out of Syria, Libya, Iran, Iraq, and a lot of these poor countries, but because there's been war there. And once Donald Trump refinances those countries, which the first one is Iraq, the Iraqis around the world will want to go back to their motherland without a shadow of a doubt and rebuild it in a beautiful way. And they won't need to borrow money from the outside world. If it's refinanced as it should be and revalued as it should be, there'll be 10 times more than they actually need. And so they'll create work, but they'll be back in their own land. And it's very interesting to see the relationship that Trump is brokering and bringing back together. We started with Israel and the United Arab Emirates. The other one that missed the mainstream media last week was the one between Kosovo and Serbia.
Yes.
He's
been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize, but he just became president. They just gave it to him, but he hadn't done anything to broker any peace, really, Yeah. But here you have a man who's actually brokered some deals that's moved towards peace that has been, 21 years Kosovo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the Israel thing is huge. And so he's getting nominated, but people are going to really rail against that one. They're going to have it.
He should have had it a long time ago, and probably at least 2 or 3 of them by now, because of the simple fact that he's bringing peace to the world. That's what he's doing, and that's what the Peace Prize is for.
Obama campaigned on getting the people out of Afghanistan, getting the soldiers back home. Mm-hmm. Trump's finally doing it now. He's doing it, actually. I don't know if he talked much about it, but he's definitely doing it. He brought the soldiers out of Syria. He's the first president where we've not gone to war. Obama invaded 7 countries and dropped a bomb every 20 minutes, but the media never talked about it. He
killed over 1 million people.
He destroyed Libya, so he was, authored as this peace president, but that was like the setup. Like, okay, we're going to say he's a peace president. Now you're not going to watch him as he totally drops bombs every 20 minutes and goes, he's like Bush on steroids. Like Bush was, Bush was bad, but now Obama's going to do the same thing Bush did, actually.
Exactly.
But he's going to look better doing it. People are not going to criticize him.
Yeah. But look, we're coming through the other side, which is the most important thing, and then people will become aware as to what we've been through. And your job and my job is to try and get the truth out to these people, to take away their fear, because fear will kill you, even if COVID won't.
Right. And that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I appreciated when I watched you. That you had this sense of peace and confidence, and this. And you validated what I was feeling within already from my own research, that the Patriots are in control. Yeah, that we got this. That we got this.
100%. They were 100% in control. Donald Trump is 100% in control, and he's been in control for a long time now when it comes to controlling what's happening. And it's beautiful to see. It's being managed in a beautiful way. Sorry.
The last thing to go, really, to really break down the control system completely, I think, would be the media, because the media is the only thing that's holding people in this kind of spell, right?
Yeah, it will definitely be the last one to go, and he's keeping it till last. He's keeping the best till last. He's a naughty boy, but it is funny. And I know from what I've heard from people behind the scenes, and I've mentioned it on a couple of occasions, he will continue to do his tweets when he takes them down. But he'll provide the information, factual information, to 7 platforms, social media platforms, for them to distribute the story, because they've proven themselves already that if they're given the truth at a press briefing, within 10 minutes it's come out completely different. And we've all seen it.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the importance of showing it live so that people can see how evil and corrupt the mainstream media had become.
I remember a few months ago, or just maybe a month or two ago, somebody from the administration was talking about, I can't remember who it was, but they were saying something about, they're going to create a system where they'll be able to reach people directly and bypass, the social media and the media itself.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be.
Something like that.
You and I live in a different age from when we were younger, when we used to get the newspapers. Nowadays, it comes through mainstream media, and now we're getting into social media. But, I look at my children and my grandchildren, and my oldest grandson is 15, and my youngest son is 10. So you can see that it started over again. But they've all got these phones. They've all got them. And nowadays, you can fire information straight into those. I've got different apps on there for different things. And the news can come in on any format. If you connect to a certain platform of social media, it's the same as the mainstream media. In the old days, I had lots of different mainstream media apps, so that I had the news there. But now, even with social media, you can want notifications. You subscribe to a channel, you get notifications, so you get notified when the information's coming out. So it's already there. It'll be refined a lot more as to where we get our news from and how we get it. And people will go with the people that they feel comfortable with. And we live in a free world, or we thought we did, but it's been controlled so much by the powers of evil and money. It's been driven by money. It's been driven by money.
That's the interesting thing that's really coming down to God and the godless. Like the people who are the God and the goodly, and then the people who are just totally Luciferian, Satanists that are, really at the extreme of murdering children and all that type of stuff, really, really dark, evil stuff going on,
I've never understood that side. And when I first was introduced to it, I felt really sick, and I didn't even want to look at it. And I got people's...
Kids are being found every day, like every weekend or something. Every other day, they're bringing 39 children here in Georgia, and 24 in Ohio or something like that. But the media is not even talking about it.
No. But those numbers are not even right. I mean, there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, been found.
Yeah, these are small reports we're getting here in the States.
Yeah.
But you're saying, say that again. How many?
There's tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of children being rescued right now.
That's amazing.
And I've got intel from a guy that I know that's in the US military, and his feet are on the ground. When you start talking to them, they've got their other friends who are also part of the US forces that are in a different country, and they communicate together.
So obviously that's something that they can't fully bring out to the public at this point for many reasons. And a lot of people are like, well, where's it at? Where's it at? That kind of thing of,
I think if they released it right now, there would be massive amounts of heart attacks and suicides when people find out the truth. And this is why I don't think we'll find out anything more than 10 to 20% of it, and it won't be this year, it'll be next year. Right. It'll filter out very, very gently. It's disgusting, it's horrible. And I think people like you and I, before I started this journey, I had no idea it existed. No idea at all.
Right. The other thing that a lot of people are really interested in seeing is a big arrest on some level. They've had this one guy, Klein Smith, or who but that's it. He's a small guy. But I think this month, I thought we're waiting for this Durham indictments. Durham's been building his case.
Yeah.
So Labor Day has come and went, and we were expecting something around this time, maybe. So hopefully something is going to drop. I'm sure we have less than 60 days before the election. There's going to be a lot of revelations coming forth.
Without a shadow of a doubt, the next 60 days are going to be very, very interesting. And I've said to many, many people, now is the time to hibernate. Forget quarantine, just hibernate. Keep a low profile. Just keep your eyes and ears open. But you're right with the arrests. Most of the people arrested have actually been executed already. and people on license. But they'll be published, so it becomes public knowledge. And this is all about timing, because
Yes.
we are in a third world war, and what we have at the moment is two sides. The good side has already won. I can assure you of that. But the evil side are still dangerous because they're what's known as in the boxing and as throwing haymakers, which if they connect, it hurts, but it's not going to knock you out.
Right.
And we just need to be aware of that right now. We're in a dangerous period from a point of view of the people that are being arrested are heavily armed. So we don't want to be in the range of ricochet. We need to be out of the way when they arrest them, because these people are top military officials, top police officials, top government officials. The government officials are all armed, and when they get taken down, they won't be happy. They won't go quietly, because they realise that their bubble has been burst. A lot of them already realise that. So we're living in an interesting time, but it's when you put it in the whole perspective. When we look back at this in a few years' time, we'll go, well, it was all done in 6 months. And you go, 6 months when you're in the middle of it is a long time.
Yeah. And it's a spiritual war that we're in, correct? You feel the same way? You feel like it's
100%,
really a spiritual.
100%.
And it's really important for people like, and there are a lot of people, they come on and they get the information and they get, and to balance ourselves, you know, with quiet time and that spiritual connection, because just the information itself can drive you nutty, you know?
Yeah. No,
So I really want to put that out there. That's really important to spiritually fortify yourself in whatever, you know, whatever your tradition is, whatever your avenue is to connect to the inner spirit. That's really crucial at this point, because the more we lift our own vibration, lift our own consciousness, the more we connect. Because you see that they shut down the churches here, basically. You know, the churches are well, why would they close? They just not the churches, but everything else is open. You know, but the liquor stores are open and everything. But you know, and that whole thing of gathering, so people can't gather, they can't talk, they can't communicate.
Sure.
I keep them isolated, because then they just have to deal with every information they get is from here, you know, which is mostly, we've corrupted most of this, you know. Hardly you're going to have voices of reason and truth.
Yeah.
But there won't be any heart-to-heart connections. People can't even sit at the pub or the bar and talk, or wherever, just places of gathering, period.
And if you do, you have to wear a mask, so you can't see any facial expression.
You know, like you don't even want to get through it, right?
Oh, you couldn't make it up, but it's happening, and people are allowing it to happen. And Pankaj, you and I have the duty to try and bring people some comfort, take away their fear, and just everything's going to be fine. It's just not nice right now.
I totally agree.
But we're going to come through it, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
But thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's your morning, very early morning. Thank you for getting up so early. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you, Charlie.
Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.